Hub's community is becoming a force for good on the planet. And as we look at the total package, where we can put it initially, we look towards Agape International and the Global Works Ministry run by Reverend Datra Hansel, who's with us here today, together with Joe and Alice Simon of Child of Destiny in Nairobi. We've all heard of the atrocities that have been going on in Kenya, and I went to Reverend Datra recently and asked her what was the first pilot that her community wanted to support inside of Hub.
Our intention is really to be a beneficial presence on the planet, which is the mission, the goal of Agape. And we do that by doing philanthropical work, being of service in a variety of different ways, and to uplift and support individuals globally. Child of Destiny, we've been working with them, supporting them for over 4 years. And I've gotten to know Joe and Alice very well, and the work that they do there in Nairobi with the orphans and the community. And after hearing what the intention for Hub is, it just felt like a perfect match. I know the heart and soul of what Child of Destiny is about, and I know what Hub wants to accomplish. So the marriage of the two just seemed perfect.
Joe, you've come back from Kenya. The things that we've been hearing in the media have been pretty awful. What's the current situation down in Kenya and Nairobi, and both in relationship to the stability and also in the slums?
Families have been displaced, others have been killed. There have been a lot of rapings, and what we've been fighting, AIDS, has really spread like wildfire because of the turmoil that has been happening in Kenya right now, because some of these people, they spread AIDS from one place to the other, and that increases the burden of what we've been trying to fight at Child of Destiny, because what we do, we take the children whose parents have died from both parents of AIDS, and then we bring them to Jubilee Children's Center and give them a second chance in life. We give them a hopeful future.
When I'm in the business of taking the children, I come across these women, who are so desperate, and the only livelihood, or the only way to give livelihood to their children is prostitution, because that's what happens in the slums. They will take moonlight so that they're so drunk. They will go with any man. You'll find a little hut with 7 kids who are so close to each other, and then each one of them has a different father, a different even tribe. And these women, when I talk to them and I tell them, why can't you stop this way of life? They tell me, we don't know any other way. We don't have money. We don't know what we can do to be able to survive or provide for our children. Mm-hmm. And so over the years, when I've talked to them, it has weighed down in my heart, and I didn't know exactly what I would do to be able to help these mothers so that they're not going in that direction of prostitution. Because when they do this, it only increases the chances. And the saddest things, Charlie, is these mothers, their daughters, when they grow up, this is exactly what they take after. The same way they are growing from the slum, so they go the same way the mother went. So you'll find a girl of 15 years old, 13 years old, pregnant, or having a child. And the saddest thing, as you go around the slum, you'll find these little girls with children. And one case that really disappointed me is when I realized this one little girl had 3 kids of her own, but she had AIDS. The mother had AIDS. So when I visited the mother, I think that was in June, when I visited her, she was just recovering from an attack she had because she had had AIDS for 4 years. So she told me, my daughter is sleeping behind. It was just a curtain. We were sitting in a little room. The mother is sitting here, and behind here is a little curtain dividing, because it's just a small place. The daughter had AIDS. It's dying of AIDS, just behind the curtain. And this is her mother, who is also dying of AIDS. And these are children, the most beautiful children, Charlie. And knowing that they'll be left without a grandmother, they'll be left without a mother. You know, this was in June, and it really broke my heart, and I started wondering, what can I do? You know, and excuse me.
It's okay.
So, so it's not just about the children. You know, if we can be able to help these mothers, give them something to do, you know, and be able to bring in a little income,
Right.
I'm sure their way of life can change.
You know, listening to you, Alice and Joe, you're crusaders of love. I mean, unconditional love. And I know that your heart is to stop and love for every one of those children and just the next one and the next one. And it's a very simple and selfless act. And what I'm hearing is, you know, survival is dire in the slums. You're able to support children coming out of these slums, giving them hope and education, that the infrastructure's in place, that we have a community ready and willing to support that. And, you know, as I turn to our own members and people that are joining Hub and people that are in the community at Agape and other organizations, you know, awareness is nothing without action. We have seen the need is great, and the need is great in Africa and around the world for decades. We have a philosophy of moving from survival through self-empowerment to self-sustainability and self-abundance. This mirrors that philosophy.
In Africa, we say that it takes two people to bring a child into the world, but it takes a whole village to raise that child. And looking at us here, you from England, and Reverend Deitra, American, and we are Kenyans. It is ourselves as a global village now to take this challenge and raise these children and bring them to be the kind of people that they needed to be in the first place. And we are thankful that you have stepped in, and Agape has stepped in. Our relationship with Agape has been so good. We have learned a lot. They live according to the name they are. Agape means love. Agape, I believe it's Greek, and it means love. We have learned a lot of love, a lot of commitment, and through those 4 years, they started small by bringing clothes. Now we are building a Agape dispensary on site, and we are so thankful for what is happening, because Agape dispensary is not just for the children, it's going to help the entire community. And with those kind of assistance, we are so grateful.